Hello everyone, welcome to Grace Hollow, and today we have two special guests. You all know Vinny, he's the famous little man. And then we have, and I get this wrong every time I try to say it, we have Chuck from Hillbilly Acre Homestead.
Yeah.
Woo! I did it! I already did it right. Anyway, you may have remembered I mentioned...
That's the first goal for 2017?
I think that's the first time I've said that right, period. You may remember when I did the Red New Zealand update, that I only had one red doe and I had promised it to Chuck. So Chuck is here to pick up Chuck and
Hello.
Lovely Chuck's wife.
Dana.
Dana, I knew that.
That's okay.
Welcome to Grace Hollow again. This is not your first time to be here.
No, we were here back in August of last year. We picked up,
Romeo.
we came to visit, but I don't think we've ever, I don't know if we'll ever be able to come to visit without taking a rabbit home. Or treating. If we ever do, we'll think something's wrong. But yeah, we had gave us a nice tour of the Rabbitry and everything. We enjoyed that.
Well, I didn't torture them with the tour this time. I done worse and made them eat my cooking. So
Miss PJ makes good tater soup.
Yeah, you might have to show everybody how you make that one of these days.
well,
It's
you know
still
the
together.
problem is I never make it the same way twice
Well, that's
because
why you need to have the camera going.
because
when
I
you do it.
I don't measure, you know, and sometimes, you know, like I told you earlier, Junior don't eat vegetables. I don't know, he thinks it's going to kill him or something. And so I have to hide vegetables in my food. And so a lot of times it's whatever I have in the refrigerator. So I never make it the same way twice. Anyway, so we were going to discuss what has Hillbilly Acre Homestead got planned for 2017. Any new
Well,
exciting things?
Well, some things, obviously have changed recently. As our viewers know, one of our red does that we were going to be dependent on pretty heavily for this past year, or this next year, with our youngsters. Everybody, I guess, already heard the bad news. We lost her.
The sangria?
Yeah, as far as goals, well, we're not going to let it set back. A setback is just that. It's a setback, but we're gonna bounce back. We've got a couple of does that we're raising up that we picked up, and
We still got Annabelle, which is over at New Zealand.
our viewers have met all of those, and we're taking another red doe new home today, and I think it's about the same age as the two that we already have, and so hopefully the goal will be is as far as production to actually get those young ladies regardless of how they do at any shows that they attend, we want to get them going for the latter part of the year. I'm thinking probably they'll be ready to go hopefully after what we call the summer break. After and everything starts to cool off and back off after the summer and what have you, I think they will be getting just the right age, and all of them will be.
Well, now, this young doe you're picking up today, she's going on 4 months. So you could probably breed
She's
her.
going to be ready a little sooner than that.
Well, let's see. Yeah, the end of October. So November, December, January, February. She's going on 4 months.
Okay,
So maybe
what's in
late
the weight?
spring. Maybe late spring you can give her bred.
It depends on weight too. I mean, I've got one of the two that I have at home and I don't know their exact age right off the top of my head, but they're already, one of them's already 6.5 pounds. So she's
2 more pounds. You can give her bred.
so she's growing.
2.5.
The other one's probably about a pound behind. They're sisters, but they're not exactly One's a little lighter than the other one, but, and, you know, you mentioned grubs. There's another goal. We've never raised broken reds before. And we hope that he's going to be able to help us with that later on.
You're getting a nice one. He's one I planned on keeping for myself.
You know, I know it's tough. You know, people. I'm sure a lot of people would, if they haven't raised as many rabbits as we deal with on a yearly basis, they probably think, well, it's just another rabbit, no big deal.
But they don't understand.
Every single rabbit
See
is
them and you
different.
pet them, and every day you get
Don't
attached
you
to
notice?
them.
Well, yeah, and
Every rabbit has its
especially
own
your
personality.
show rabbits,
Right.
because you're spending more time with them.
Yeah.
You're posing them, you're grooming them, you're just working them over and
Right.
making sure that they're, you know, somewhat presentable on the judging
Mhm.
table. And you know, your breeders, yeah, you take care of them, you pet them, you talk to them, but you're not spending that one-on-one
That's true.
Right.
personal time with them like you do your show bunnies. And you do get attached to them.
Mhm.
They're, you know, just, I wouldn't say just like a dog, because
And
a
even-
dog's irreplaceable, but they are very attachable.
And even if you know, when you put that bunny on your show team, early in the year or late in the fall or whatever, however you're doing it, even if you know that that's probably not going to be a rabbit that you're going to have a place for, or possibly not going to be one that you're going to have a place for, it doesn't make any difference really, does it? I mean, it doesn't change how attached, even if you know ahead of
because
time
you're
that rabbit is going to go home with somebody else eventually.
You know, actually, I tend to get more attached to those that like Moko. I already have a buyer for Moko. I know where he's going, and you know, it's getting harder and harder to let him go because you know, oh, he's only here for a limited time, and you know that, but still, oh, he's only here a limited time. I better enjoy him while I can.
Right.
And to me, I think I get even closer to the ones that I know are leaving than I do, oh, well, this one's going to be here for a while. I can pet him any old time, you know.
I never really thought of it that way. But
I
that
think I
makes
do,
sense,
yeah.
yes. I mentioned a couple of things that are goals for 2017. And I know you've had a lot of changes, made a lot of changes. So what's going on? What are you hoping to achieve as far as Grace Hall Rabbitry is concerned this next year?
Well, in regards to the Rabbitry, my biggest goal for 2017
Didn't you born?
is a big big blue buck. I'm in the market for a big blue buck. I have a really nice blue buck, but he's only like 9 pounds 4 ounces, which he's legal. You know, I can show him. But my bucks, I'm a little partial. I like big bucks. You know that song, I like big butts? Well, I like big bucks. I like, you see Sorrel or you see Bazooka Joe. These are my two main herd sires. You see them, they have these big bull pads and these big, they're pushing 11 pounds at prime, That's the kind of buck I like. And I want a big blue buck. That is my number one priority for 2017. As far as Rabbitry as a whole, this year you're going to see I'm going to be focused on the blues. Now I've said, people that speak to me personally know, blues have been my number one from day one. I love the reds. The blacks, they're tolerable. I've got great blacks and great broken blacks, but the only reason I ever got into the blacks was for my blue line. And so, because blue is a dilute of black, and so I needed to start out with the blacks, and I've got my black herd where I want it. Is there room for improvement? Of course, there's always room. Is it a great place to start for my blues? Absolutely. I don't think I can start at a better place than where I am right now for my blues. For the Rabbitry, I have another goal that This one's just kind of for fun, and really I have you to thank for this. I would have never known if you had asked me about sweepstake points with the specialty clubs.
Yeah.
And I was explaining that to you.
Right.
And I went to the website and I was trying to tell you. That's when I discovered that I made the top 20 list on the broken New Zealand's for this year. I would have never known that if you hadn't asked for information and me trying to share that with you. So when we were discussing that, I was shocked and everything I could do not to just get really excited when we were talking because I didn't know I had made that list. So for 2017, just for the fun of it, on my blues, I want to be on that list this year. So, and I'm starting way behind on that because show season starts in 2 weeks. We go to Shreveport, and I have no blues to take. I have my senior buck. I can show him. I don't know how well he would do. He's just a buck that I've had, and I didn't intend to show him because I didn't expect for blues to be approved this year. I thought at best it would be next year, and so I really, the blues have been something I've done kind of haphazardly in the background. Well, now that they're approved a year earlier than I ever expected, I got caught with my pants down around my ankles and I don't have any blues. So I'm really hustling to try to catch up for this year. In my last round, I brought a lot of my blue carriers, and I did get some blues, but they're like Charlie's or no nose marking.
Yeah, I saw those.
And so there's nothing that I can show, so I have to try again for a whole new round. So I'm starting out this year behind with no blues. So it's going to be difficult for me to make that list this year with blue, but that's my goal anyway.
Well,
Unless there's only 20 of us showing this year, and then I'll make the list.
well, if you don't have a goal, you're not ever going to make a goal. You're not going to hit a goal.
Right.
If you don't have a goal, so. Well, what about the blacks? Are you gonna continue with the blacks and the brokens this year? Or?
Over time, I've talked to some of the big producers of the blue New Zealands, the ones that carry the CODs and presented these rabbits. I've talked to several of these people, and they say the best blues you can get is blue bred to blue. That the theory I have been running this on, that you had to have the blacks to keep the color rich and dark, is not true. That was the myth that I believed for years that I've been working on, and that's obviously not true. I've talked to judges and I've talked to these bigger producers that's been doing this, for decades, and they say, no, that's not true. You're big. So with that in mind, eventually my blacks are probably going to go to the wayside, especially if my health requires me to reduce further. It will be the blacks to go first. I hate to, because my blacks are just top notch, but blues have always been my number one, and reds have always been number two, and blacks for me they're out of necessity, and if they are not necessary, then they don't need.
I just want to say that the people you were talking to, and they were guessing the blue to blue breeding. Just assuming that genetics is pretty much the same even in different breeds, I have seen that myself in our mini Rex. Breeding a blue to a blue, I get just awesome color out of that, whereas a lot of times breeding a black and a blue and I get washed out color.
See, I used to, a few years ago, okay, a few years ago, when I raised Dutch, that's where I started, was with Dutch and mini Rex. Years ago. I don't even think I was 20 years old yet, so it's been, 3 or 4 years ago, but, or maybe a little more, yeah. So, in my experience, when I was raising Dutch, I did black, blue, what did I do? Black, blue, chocolate, and tort. That's the 4 varieties I did. And on my blacks, I always had, or blues, I always had better color, blue and black crossed. I always got my best color that way. When I bred blue to blue, I always faded out, especially after like 2 generations. It just fade out. And so I was going on that concept. You know, that's what worked for me on the Dutch. I'm sure that's what's going to, like you said, you know, what difference does it make between breeds? It's the same concept. Well, I'm not saying that it does. I'm just saying my experience. And that's the experience, what I based my blacks for was, oh, well, I'm going to need blacks to do that. But I hear from the professionals, the ones that really know what they're talking about, say that that's not true. So I'm going to follow the professionals, these that have decades of experience, and I'm going to, when I get them, when I get them produced up to the level of quality that I want using my blacks, I will eventually cut the blacks out, and it will be blue to blue, and I will probably eventually only have reds and blues and the broken varieties of each eventually. All right, well, we went out and got their new bunnies and their paperwork.
Yeah.
You think old Grub's there going to do what you need him to do?
Oh, I'm pretty sure, given a chance, he won't have any problem taking care of business.
Tell you what, he looks big in his cage, and when you hold him, he looks big. But sitting in your lap, he looks like a monster on this camera.
Yeah, that's a lap full of bunny right
yeah,
there.
he looks like a beast, and look at that head.
Yeah, look at
You know,
that.
I keep thinking he don't have, you know, a big head, but he shares a cage right next to Bazooka Joe, and I guess it's kind of hard to match Bazooka Joe's head, because I thought he had a feminine head all this time, and he don't. He's got a big old bull head like his daddy. He's just not as big as Daddy, but he's still younger too.
Yeah,
he's
he's
got
still
a
growing.
little growing left to do.
Yeah, I thought.
And there's your new doe,
This is Gracie.
Gracie. All right, I like the name. It was good
Just say
visiting,
you
and
goodbyes.
I'm glad you guys came by, Dana and Rebecca and Austin and Chuck. It's always a pleasure to see you guys. And I
Thanks for
want
having
to
us.
say, I know I've said over the phone, and I know I've said over Messenger, but while you're here in front of me where I can see you and hug you, I want you both to know what a blessing you guys have been. Calling to check on me every few days. You know, sometimes you called when I was really down, and that really cheered me up and gave me hope to keep moving. So I want y'all to know how important it has been. I enjoy your friendship. I'm gonna cry. Okay, I'm done. I love y'all.
That's what you get for being too emotional.
Thanks for watching, and until we speak again, God bless.
Oh, come here, yeah. I'm gonna stand up this time.
Make sure you get to hug some video.
I can't cry. I can't cry over camera, so I gotta
Yeah.
stop. Well, you know we love you. I will take you out and show you if we get up there before daylight. It's quite a few changes up there.
Daylight, sun going up and down.
Well, it's supposed to be going down sometime soon.
Before dark.
Well, what I say.
Daylight.
Oh,
don't
did they say losing daylight?
You said before
Oh, you said before daylight.
Oh,
It's okay.
well,
It's on.
it's
I'm here to
okay.
keep you
Hey,
honest.
brain damage, people, okay? Don't forget
The
that.
good news is, like you pointed out sometime back, now you've got proof. There is a brain. So.
I do. I have written proof, and well, my doctors do. I don't actually have it, but there is pictures of my brain, and it
Some
is there.
paperwork were missing or something when you went home back in August. According to my son.
What?
Because we took home a rabbit. It had 3 legs, and he wants to know where the grand champion is.
Yeah.